Hi, Gemini, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your December 2021 new moon reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Excuse me. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Gemini be affected by the December 2021 new moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. So I'm just going to take a sip of water. All right. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the moon, which is telling us that this moon is going to affect us quite profoundly. This is also Pisces energy. So if we have Pisces within our natal charts or within our lives, they're going to be affecting us at our root, more so than they even realize. They're going to be affecting us if we have them in our lives, Pisces. They're going to be affecting our root self. If it's part of our personality, this is going to be a root part of our personality during this time. Then we have the Magician, as above, so below. As we believe it, so it becomes. Our mind and ourselves is going to be so important during this time that we're not even going to realize it. How much our thoughts influence who we are and the way that we're moving forward, but also the power of this moon. Our inner self is the Fool. And then Judgment. I love that we only have major arcana cards so far. Yes, this deck at our root is only major arcana, but our inner self is coming through very, very powerfully. We have to take that leap of faith. And there's a part of us that is being resurrected during this time, which is absolutely beautiful. Then we have our emotional self. We have the Seven of Cups, and we have the Eight of Swords. There's almost a sense of our dreams are so big that we're terrified of them. There's a sense that if I accomplish this, if I embrace this dream, what then? Like, who am I? How do I move forward? How do I go after what I want? What happens next? That's going to be a really big thing. Then we have Temperance coming through. Excuse me. In our public arena self, this is Sagittarius energy. So the new moon is in Sagittarius on the 4th of December, meaning that this hits us really hard. Also, Sagittarius is our sister sign. So like sisters, we can love this energy. We can also hate this energy at times. And nobody can really play with our emotions and kind of call us out like a sister can. So if you have a sister, you know what I'm talking about. So here with the Temperance, there's harmony coming forward, but there's also a sense of being pushed to find that harmony within ourselves by some maybe feeling a bit uncomfortable at times. And then we have the Ten of Swords. This is the darkness before the dawn. This is every single trial and tribulation we have been through throughout our lives. We're taking out the swords that have scarred us, that have hurt us, and they're the weapons that now arm us as we move forward in our lives to what we want, as we, go after what it is that we really desire. And I love that we have an equal balance of minor arcana and major arcana cards here, of course, excluding the root. And there's just a sense of this is a big time, but this is also a time with 1,000 little lessons that push us forward in a way that we hadn't thought possible for ourselves. So let's look at the energy we need to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. So we have the Queen of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We can get really caught up in earthly achievements and wealth and what other people perceive as prosperity and say, well, they have that, they get this, they get that, why not me? We're also going to try and align ourselves with certain things that don't match our own energy vibration and our own self, because we're going to think, oh, that makes us more successful. So this could be people, this could be ideas, this could be, whatever. This could be our own creativity that we're trying to harness, and we could go about it the wrong way, then we'll feel it. It'll just be something that we think, oh, this is off. And yet we're going to think, oh, but I can make a lot of money, or I can, bear with this because it'll get me to the place that I want to be. And Spirit's saying here, how much are you willing to sacrifice? How much is too much? That's really going to be a case here. So let's look at our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. We have determination, which is the solar plexus chakra. We're fighting against a lot of our emotions at times to be able to get to where it is that we want to be able to embrace what we desire, want, need within our lives. And this can be a time where we sit there and think, why is it so hard? Why is it so complicated? It's because there's something greater on the other side. It's because this is powered by our souls and ourselves, and this is moving to the next level. So that's going to be a really big deal. Now, this, if I move this over just a little bit, there we go. This new moon, there we go, is the last new moon of the year. It's in Sagittarius, right? And it says luck is on your side. Why? Because we're taking aim. Also, because it has the first and only full solar eclipse of 2021 here. And a solar eclipse amplifies the power of a new moon. And that's because the moon darkens the sun. That's because the most important aspect of astrology is the sun conjunct the moon, sun across from the moon. And so this gives us a burst of energy, a burst of initiative, a real sense of this is what I want and this is where I'm heading for. So we take aim. This brings us emotional balance. This brings us help to see the way that we really want to move forward on this new moon. It's amplified again by the solar eclipse, which has us seeing our path and the way to move forward much more clearly. It's like all of a sudden, the world is quieted and the darkness brings forward so much light for us, which is an excellent end to 2021 and beginning of 2022. This is a time of a fresh start and a new outlook. Now, very close to this new moon is when the South lunar node goes into retrograde. And this has a very powerful effect on us at this time. And then when it goes into retrograde in Scorpio, and this is the first time that it does this in 18 years. This is a time that takes the lunar node to go through the zodiac, right? So 18 years. But this is also a time where the South lunar node is giving us our memories, is energizing what is draining us, is giving us the energy to see what is draining us, is energizing our way to look into our lives and into ourselves and look at our karmic destiny. This is going to be a time that is rather dramatic. This is going to be a time that is rather intense. This is known, the South lunar node is known as the tail of the dragon, and the North lunar node is known as the head. So the tail of the dragon, just think of it as a sweeping tail that comes out and it sweeps away our karmic debris. It sweeps it up into our lives. It doesn't sweep it out instantaneously. It has us looking at it and destroying it. Think of it as a shooting game, like, where you have to shoot the debris that's flying in the air at a video game place. So this has us looking at the karmic theme in our lives and what we're holding on to, what's holding us back, and the way that we need to move forward. Why it's important that it's in Scorpio is because Scorpio feeds off the power of Pluto, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto connects with the soul. Here it is all about reincarnation. It is all about the reincarnation of our soul, the alignment of our energy. We need to live and to expel what we no longer need, not hold on to it. And we're going to have a tendency, Gemini, to hold on to it, to say, but this is what I need to remember to shape me forward. This humiliation, this pain, this hurt, this defined me. So how could I let go of it? And it's like, why would I hold on to it? It's what the South Lunar Node is really making us look at. The new moon conjunct Mercury, okay, puts things into perspective. It does, but it's also calling us very forward during this time because we're ruled by Mercury. And with the new moon conjunct Mercury, it puts our thinking, our communication, and our short distance travel into focus. We are alert, we are quick thinking, we are adaptable, we are curious, we are good at buying and selling, we are good at negotiating and being social. So this is why we're so drawn to the Queen of Pentacles. We're so good at that world of achieving more, that world of, I don't want to say finances because it's not really finances. It's about being able to connect and it's about being able to see a bigger pattern. But we have to be very mindful of how we harness that and how it moves us forward during this time. We also have the new moon sextile Uranus. Now, this is going to be not as relaxing. This is not going to be a time where this alignment soothes our nerves. This actually makes us nervous and tense and anxious. We can feel like there's some big change on the horizon or some big drama on the horizon, and that's because there is. There's something that's coming forward that's going to force us either to stay in our shell or to break out of that shell and to say absolutely not and never again. And so something is coming forward for us that we find it hard to relax because we know that it's going to change things once it comes. We know that things aren't going to be the same. There's going to be a buildup of energy within us that makes us feel anxious, that makes us, feel off our game, that has us looking towards the future, has us looking towards something more. The new moon is also going to be sextile Saturn, which has a grounding influence on us, reducing the anxiety of Uranus. But this also aligns us with caution and patience and perseverance and a strong sense of responsibility. With this, okay, we are being able to set our goals. We are being able to get the job done, but we need to remember to be kind to ourselves and that we will make mistakes. We will drop the ball at times. We will mess up because with the new moon sextile Saturn doesn't want that. Saturn wants you to be on point all the time. And we're going to require that of ourselves. We have to balance that with compassion. Saturn is also going to be squared Uranus. So this is going to be intense. This can bring change that we don't want and that we feel is a setback. It's something that pushes things in a direction that we think, oh, wait, what the heck's going on here? Like, I thought this was going to be different. Yet, if we keep an open mind and are patient with ourselves and the people around us and flexible, we are going to find that this time, when it brings its challenges, they actually turn into opportunities that can rid our lives of negativity, that can really push us into a place that we've always longed to be. The eclipse aspect pattern of this time is called the large learning triangle. Now, that represents a crisis that comes into our life and brings profound learning and profound development. Now, this eclipse aspect pattern starts with the triangle consisting of conflict, which is Saturn squared Uranus. Then it is the new moon quintus Uranus, which brings a striving for a solution. And then it is the harmonizing aspect of the new moon sextile Saturn, which is a sense of harmony, a sense of insight, a sense of, okay, I see what I need. I see what I desire. I am patient. I am persistent. I am present. I am responsible. I am cautious as I move forward. And as this all comes in, we have a star alignment that kind of knocks us off our game as well, that makes things a little bit tricky. So we have the fixed star Alwade come into play. Now, this is within the constellation of Draco, and Draco is, of course, a dragon. It connects again to the south lunar node that comes in. And what ancient astrologers called Alwade was the nebulous eye, the nebulous star of the dragon's eye. So this made things hazy. This didn't give us a clear sight like we wanted. And the Arabic meaning of Alwade was who's to be destroyed. So the star's alignment is powered by Mars and powered by Saturn. War and responsibility, just take on the duties, just keep on pushing forward. This makes us bold, which is great, but it also makes us cruel and heartless. This can also make us criminal and violent. So we have to be mindful of this influence because it can take over. And we're not going to see things clearly because, again, it's the hazy eye of the dragon. So be mindful of our emotions and the fact that we can look at things and see it one way. But if we are just going off of instantaneous reaction, what we're seeing isn't necessarily going to be what truly is or how we want things to truly progress. So be aware of this. Don't act without thinking during this time. I don't know why it's coming through so strongly for us here, Gemini, but just be aware of it, that we're going to get very focused on one certain aspect of things. And I think it's our desire to be successful during this time, our desire to say, well, I'll show you. And we're not going to look at the bigger picture. We're not going to actually see our success because we're too wrapped up in our own mind and our own way of perceiving things and wanting things. And this is a time where Spirit says, let me guide you. Let me guide you because I see more clearly than you will now. Then we also have the fixed star Antares come in. Now, this is a star at the heart of the constellation Scorpio, again connecting us with the south lunar node. Now, in ancient Greece, this was known as Antares, or the rival of Mars, meaning that if we have Aries within our chart anywhere, this is a rival to Aries, because in the night sky, they would say that Antares shone like Aries because it was a red-green color that you could mistake for Mars. So Antares is of the nature of Mars and of Jupiter. Again, battle ready, Mars, god of war. Jupiter, another name for Zeus, right? And that's in Roman mythology. So it makes us commanding, which is the best thing about it. It's prideful, it's malevolent, it is destructive, it is broad-minded, which is also a really good thing, but it's also rash and headstrong. And again, destructive. It is, again, destructive. If we let it take over, it will take over completely. And it will be of war, but it will not be of the general's war. It will be of the person who thinks that they could do better than the person who has all the maps and all the information and all the training because it's an imposter. So be aware of that. The moon comes into play. And the moon comes into play so strongly here for us. The eclipse comes in, it amplifies everything. This is the new moon in Sagittarius. This is our sister sign calling us forward. It's having us look at things. It's having us question things. It's really seeing in a new light what we want, what we need, where we're headed, where we're going. And so for us, Gemini, this moon calls us forward. It calls us forward and it has us facing our fears and our doubt. And it has us embracing a bit of magic within us. Determination, focus, insight, ideas, where we want to be, what we desire, what we focus on during this time, for better or for worse, is what we manifest within our lives, whether we want it or not. As above, so below. As we believe it, so it becomes. What are we creating? What are we manifesting? What do we desire within our existence and within ourselves? This is a game-changing time. Are we going to let it change us into fearful, hidden away people? Or are we going to let it change us into bold, courageous, powerful people? Because we're standing on a precipice in our inner selves. And it's like the moon shines bright and the sun guides us. But it's all through darkness. It's all through the quiet. If we can embrace quiet, which I know is hard for us, Gemini, if we can embrace quiet, if we can calm our mind and our soul and ourselves, and we can say, I get to be a fool. I get to have other people think that I am insane. I get to have other people think what they like. But I get to move forward in the power and in the essence that is my divinely guided path. That is the karmic theme of my life. What has been coming up time and time again? What is the battle that I always feel that I am fighting? That I always feel like I have to overcome? What is the power and the purpose and the insight of me? Remember, as Spirit always says when the Fool comes up, every hero's journey begins with them being a fool. Every hero's journey begins with people laughing and mocking and saying, do you really think? Just think of being an entrepreneur. Just think of starting your own business or going out on a limb. Do people say that's a great idea? I absolutely support you. Or do they tell you 500,000 different ways that you will fail? Because that's the case with so many people. It's like, if I can't dare to dream it, I don't want you to even do it. And now not only are we dreaming it, but we're starting to do it too. Because this is what our angels are calling us to. This is the glory and the passion and the power that our angels are saying, listen. Listen and rise to more. It's time for an adventure. It's time to break down the barriers. It doesn't mean that we have to go anywhere. The new moon conjunct Mercury has us focusing on short distance travel, right? Short little trips. And it doesn't mean that we even have to leave our house. It can be the trips within our mind. It's not doing drugs, of course, but it is a sense of I am connecting with what I dream, with what I desire, with how I'm breaking down these barriers within me. From what I was told in the past, from what I long for in the present, or where I desire being. I'm rising out of the box that I put myself in, that society put myself in, that my disabilities or fears or doubts or whatever put me in. And I am rising to something that is so much more than I ever anticipated. And it brings us to our dreams. It brings us to a scary place within our hearts that says, this is what I love. This is what I love, and this is what I'm passionate about. And what if I put it out there and everybody mocks it and nobody understands it? Then maybe it wasn't time for it to be let out. Maybe it was a time to kind of get feedback and to come back in and say, okay, I will make this better. I will make this stronger and more brilliant and more infused with me. Our dreams are spectacular things. And yet, so often, because we get burnt in life, we tend to lock them in a dark little closet within our inner self and go to our dreams when life is hard, when life is overwhelming, when we feel frazzled and just think, oh my gosh, how possibly can I? And we take out our dreams and we look at it. It's kind of like snuggling a puppy, right? And then we let the puppy scamper away. We let our dreams scamper away. And all that warm, fuzzy feeling sustains us for a time before it falls away. Because we haven't taken that puppy and watched it grow and taken the time and the effort to make it mature or to, love it as it matures. And so here, that's what we need to do with our dreams. And yet there's a fear that we have within our minds that's saying, I can't possibly. We're overthinking it. We're overanalyzing it. We're wanting it to be perfect. And here's the thing, perfection is a lie. It will never be perfect. It will always be scarred and it will have our fingerprints all over it. And we will come back, as we become better and more proficient and think, wow, I can't believe I did this. It was so raw. It was so bare. But also, when we start to create our dreams and we start to bring them forward, the bare and the raw has the most of our soul in it, the most of our power in it. The Eight of Swords is where so many people live. So many people spend their whole lives doing what they're supposed to do. Trapped in a box, again, just like judgment is having us rise out of, trapped in a box that either we create to say, I will, never venture outside here because it's terrifying, or because we tried to venture outside and we got burnt. It was overwhelming. And so we stay in this little world and we are frustrated and we're overwhelmed and we feel like a part of us is dying. And yet we suffer silently and powerfully. And so the Eight of Swords is saying to us, is saying to our hearts, how much longer? How much longer are we going to be tied in water that we can walk out of? Not surrounded by swords, but just thinking that no matter which road we take, we're going to be cut. We're going to fall apart. Things aren't going to move forward correctly. It brings us to temperance. It brings us to this new moon, putting us in harmony with ourselves, putting us in balance with ourselves. It's going to call us out harshly, like sisters do. It's going to taunt us and tease us until we say, you know what, shut up, I'm doing it. And that's when we take all the swords that have stabbed us, hurt us, scarred us, let us be broken. And we take the wealth of knowledge, and it becomes our arsenal, our fuel, to move forward towards so much more than we ever thought we could be. There's fierceness to us now. Determination, focus, insight, ideas. We are finding the harmony within ourselves, the balance within ourselves, the compassion within ourselves to move them forward. And it's within the public world. This is a time where we walk gently and yet fiercely. It's like being a hunter in the wilderness and walking so gently that you barely make a sound, and yet being able to strike down what needs to be struck down so that we can survive, so that we can thrive. And that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be moving forward towards what we want, what we desire, what we need, and what we long for. And we're going to be hunting down so much fear and anger and doubt and destruction that has held us back. In the public arena, we are gentle and quiet and fierce and determined. And it's going to be that twin side of us that comes forward, that duality of us that we're so known for being flighty and, having flip personalities. Like, people say the worst things about Geminis. They also say very bad things about Scorpios, but I guess you can about anyone. But what we're going to find here is that we're not flighty. We're knowing when to walk away when things aren't right. And we're embracing the different sides of us, which might seem like different personalities to another, but is the whole of who we are. The duality is our normal. And just as we're embracing Scorpio energy here, we're embracing the darkness. We're embracing the sense of, there's so much more here. As I look into my soul, as I have the South Lunar Node come closer and closer into my life, become more powerful as time moves on, because it's coming to a head around the time of the new moon. And we're going to see ourselves moving towards what we have longed for so long. That karmic theme within our lives. That sense of, this is me. It moves us to our Lunar message. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. So we have at our root your work through your fears. The new moon in Scorpio. That's why it's showing us so connected with the Scorpio energy. And it's because that's how we create. We work through our fears, and it brings forward creation. It brings forward what we desire, what we've longed for, what we've, hoped to see. We start to create. Something beautiful starts to come forward. The beauty within us starts to come forward, and it brings us to be bold and make the first move fruition. Because being bold and making the first move brings to fruition the journey that we desire being on. The sense of rising into ourselves and what we desire. This doesn't come from being quiet or meek or, always doing the right thing. It comes from the embrace and the extent and the power of who we are. It brings us to our emotional self. And it says your hard work is paying off. Balance. Your hard work is paying off. And it balances so much. It brings into balance what we desire, what we've been afraid to wish for, where it is that we truly want to be. And it brings us to a time to give rather than take, of self-love. A time to give of self-love, rather than taking it away from ourselves, rather than taking the love of somebody else, to have the love of ourselves move us forward, to have that beautiful quiet, that beautiful serenity. Every single moon, well, except this one right here, is a new moon. There is a sense here of an awakening through the quiet, through the darkness. This is a time where we could even just like sit in the darkness and light a candle and sit in the darkness. That would be safer. And just connect with that flame. Just let it be a type of meditation, a little bit of a hypnosis as we connect with ourselves, as we connect with our karmic theme, with our karmic desire, as we see the dragon swish its tail and take the detritus of our lives, everything that we've accumulated in this life, in past lives, through our generational line, through our reincarnation line, and see it brought into the air, and see it destroyed, broken, shattered, and scattered, and see us breathing in the power and the beauty, the release that comes as it is shattered. Our subconscious Lunar message is the new moon. It's so powerful for us. Abundance. This new moon brings abundance. I love that the next one is Gemini, is the new moon in Gemini. So this new moon brings abundance, and it is for us. Communication is the key. A new start is coming. Abundance guides us. We are the key. We are the realization. Once we figure that out, once we unlock that door, all of a sudden, we are unstoppable. It moves us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. And that's the Hierophant, Taurus energy. Now, this is being mindful of saying it has to be a certain way. It has to fall into a certain way, a certain tradition, a certain, category, a certain institution. No, this is free. This is free and never ending. Do not ground it. We're not meant to be grounded. It moves us to our subconscious chakra energy, which is psychic development, our third eye chakra. Our third eye is opening. Psychically, if we are psychic, if we are even remotely inclined, it starts to come forward more and more. Our intuition, our understanding, our insight into situations and ideas are astounding during this time. Listen. We're not going to want to. We're going to think, oh, what nonsense. Listen. It'll be powerful. It moves us to our subconscious rooted self, which is the Hangman. We don't see things the same way anymore. And we're going to think, oh my gosh, I'm wrong. And yet, we don't see things the same way anymore. And it turns our world upside down. We can feel a bit in limbo. But what is happening is we're starting to trust our own intuition, our own self, this guidance, and not have to conform. It brings us to our subconscious inner self. And that's the Nine of Swords. We're going to have worry, doubt, and fear. We have the Nine of Swords, we have the Eight of Swords, we have the Ten of Swords. It's like, can I be any more in my own head? Can I worry anymore? We're going to want everything just to be perfect. And the fact of the matter is, it will never be. And so we have to let ourselves rest. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to honor ourselves. And then see what happens as we do. We're going to try and hold on to too much. What we're going to have to do is let a lot go. Not so much in our responsibilities. I believe that responsibilities shape us and form us, but in everything that we take on, everything that we put on our shoulders. The way that we always say to everybody, oh no, I'll do it. The way that we take on too many responsibilities. That is what Spirit is saying. It moves us to our subconscious emotional self. And again, it's the Nine of Swords. The worry, the doubt, the fear, the overanalyzing, the overthinking, the robbing ourselves of sleep, the regeneration of our bodies and our organs. We have to let it go. We're going to try so hard to push for perfect that the only thing that's going to happen is that we are terribly disappointed in ourselves. Nobody is perfect. And if we embrace that, we embrace us. It moves us to our subconscious, public arena self. And that's the Lovers. That's us, Gemini. We are represented by the Lovers in the major arcana, by the Swords in the minor arcana. Our twin self is coming together. We're falling in love with our life and our passion and our desire and our world. We are embracing our hearts. We are looking at the greater concept of what we want from our lives. We're learning how to soar, to embrace our breath and our words and our desires, and see ourselves transport to what our hearts have longed for. What we have to remember is not to sacrifice ourselves so that people love us, so that people connect. This is a time where they'll connect or they won't, but we need to move forward in the power of our hearts, our words, our imagination, our dreams. Our passion. All right, Gemini, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this new moon and solar eclipse. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini, and may you have a blessed moon.